Hello and welcome to Harmony Hall, a sacred space for all. As we gather in peace, we will grow in our beliefs and let our spirits breathe, as we gently explore the many faiths and religions that shape our spiritual world. Harmony Hall is a place of respect, reflection, and spiritual curiosity. Today, around the campfire, we journey west to the sacred sands of Egypt to uncover one of the oldest religious writings known to humankind, the Egyptian pyramid texts. Here, carved deep within the stone hearts of pharaohs' tombs, words were not merely spoken but eternalized, etched in hieroglyphs upon the walls of kings, guiding their souls through the afterlife, and calling upon the gods for protection, renewal, and light. This ancient faith reveals a civilization devoted to both heaven and earth, where divine order shaped every sunrise, and death itself was seen as the beginning of eternal life. A tale of how Egypt sought immortality through sacred language, where prayer was poetry, and the journey beyond death was a passage through the stars themselves. So come with me today, as we listen to the whisper through the corridors from within the Egyptian pyramids, where faith was carved in stone, and the voices of Egypt's gods still echo through the sands of time into today. Thank you for being here today, and for choosing Harmony Hall to help you on your spiritual walk to self-discovery. In the heart of Egypt, beneath the sands, lie secrets not of gold, but of the soul. These are the pyramid texts, the oldest religious writings known to humanity. Carved into the stone of royal tombs, these magical spells and prayers were meant to guide the pharaoh's spirit through the dangers of the underworld. Their purpose, to ensure the king's safe passage to the heavens, where he would join the gods and become a star. The pyramid texts are more than words. They are a direct link to the minds of ancient Egyptians. For the first time, we can read their deepest fears and greatest hopes about life, death, and what comes after. Before these texts, we could only guess at their beliefs. Now the pharaohs speak to us directly, describing their journey and transformation. Imagine standing inside a pyramid, torchlight revealing columns of hieroglyphs, each spell chosen to empower the king in the next world. This writing was not for the living, but for the soul of the pharaoh, a divine map hidden in darkness for thousands of years. For Egyptologists, the pyramid texts are a foundational discovery. They are the source from which later works like the Coffin texts and Book of the Dead emerged. These texts offer a pure glimpse into Old Kingdom spirituality. They prove the Egyptians were not just builders, but thinkers and poets, seeking to understand the mysteries of existence. The pyramid texts are their answer, written in stone to last for all time. Inside the burial chamber, the air is still, the walls alive with ancient words. Each sign was carved with care, each spell a key to eternity. These texts were the ultimate secret, hidden for thousands of years. They are a testament to the complexity and power of ancient Egyptian civilization. The pyramid texts are the whispers of eternity, echoing through the ages. Their magic endures, inviting us to listen. For centuries, scholars believed the Old Kingdom pyramids were bare inside. The Great Pyramids at Giza had smooth, undecorated walls, so it was assumed all pyramids were the same. But in 1881, everything changed. French archaeologist Gaston Maspero heard rumors of inscriptions inside smaller pyramids at Saqqara. Skeptical but curious, he entered the pyramid of Pepi Wurst and found walls covered in columns of blue-green hieroglyphs. It was a hidden library of the afterlife, untouched for over 4,000 years. This discovery revolutionized Egyptology. Maspero and his team explored more pyramids, Unas, Teti, finding the same mysterious texts. The pyramid texts became recognized as a standard feature of late Old Kingdom royal burials. The oldest were in the Pyramid of Unas, dating to around 2350 BC. Documenting these texts was painstaking work, done in cramped, dark chambers with only reflected sunlight. Thanks to these efforts, the voices of the pharaohs now speak to us across thousands of years. The discovery opened a new window into Egypt's ancient soul. The pyramid texts were not decoration. They were the king's guide to immortality. For Egyptians, death was a perilous journey, not an end. The pharaoh's path to join the gods was filled with obstacles, demons, gates, and trials. The texts provided spells and utterances, magical tools to overcome every danger. Each spell solved a specific problem: protection from snakes, transformation into a falcon, crossing the mythical Lily Lake. The king's goal was to become an Akh, a glorified spirit, joining Ra in the solar boat and the imperishable stars. Resurrection, like Osiris, was essential. Spells described the gods reassembling and reviving the king. These texts were exclusive, reserved for the pharaoh alone, hidden deep within his pyramid. The power of the written word was immense. Carving these spells made them real and eternal. The pyramid texts were the king's passport to eternity. They ensured his journey to the stars would succeed. Only the divine ruler held this sacred knowledge. Through these words, the king's divine nature would last forever. The first pyramid with these texts belonged to Unas, last king of the 5th dynasty. His burial chamber revealed the earliest versions, setting a new standard for royal tombs. Successors like Teti, Pepi I, Merenre, and Pepi II followed, each adding new spells to the tradition. The collection was alive, evolving with each reign. Even queens like Neith and Eput II received their own pyramid texts, signaling a shift. The afterlife was opening to royal women. By the end of the Old Kingdom, these sacred words extended beyond the king. The practice faded with the kingdom's collapse, but the text's power endured. They were adapted for new uses, surviving in later funerary traditions. The pyramids became eternal archives of faith, preserving the world's oldest sacred literature. The legacy of these kings and queens is written in stone. The pyramid texts center on the triumph of life over death. Death was a pause, not an end. Resurrection and rebirth were promised through magic. The king was identified with Osiris, restored and made whole by divine power. The journey to the heavens was vivid. The king ascended as a bird, on a ladder, or in Ra's solar boat. Joining Ra meant becoming part of the eternal cycle of sunrise and rebirth. The king was not a humble servant, but a divine equal, sometimes even superior to the gods. Some spells are assertive, demanding acceptance in the heavens. The cannibal hymn, for example, shows the king absorbing the gods' power by consuming them, a symbol of ultimate authority. Transformation is key. The king becomes an Akh, a spirit able to change form at will. The afterlife was dynamic, a state of endless power and change. The text provided the blueprint for this metamorphosis. Through these spells, the king achieved eternal existence in a perfected form. The pyramid texts are the magical engine of resurrection. The pyramid texts were written in Old Egyptian, carved in sacred hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphs were more than letters. They were living symbols, filled with magical power. The texts were carved in vertical columns, often painted blue-green, symbolizing life and rebirth. Carving and painting the words was itself a magical act, making the spells real. Scribes sometimes mutilated dangerous signs, like snakes or scorpions, to prevent them from coming to life in the tomb. The layout was deliberate. Spells for resurrection near the burial chamber, spells for ascent in the corridors. The tomb became a sacred map, guiding the king's soul. The king emerged from the sarcophagus surrounded by the words needed for transformation. The pyramid texts were both protection and power, written into the very walls. Through these hieroglyphs, immortality was made tangible. To understand the pyramid texts, we must hear their words. One repeated line, "O king, you have not departed dead, you have departed living," a magical denial of death. Spells describe the king's ascent. A ramp to the sky is built for him that he may go up to the sky thereon. The cannibal hymn, found in Unas's pyramid, depicts the king devouring gods to absorb their power, symbolizing his supremacy. Protective spells abound. The serpent is for the earth, the centipede is for the stone. I am Horus. By identifying with gods, the king gains mastery over dangers. These utterances were meant to be spoken, activating their magic. The pyramid texts are rich, varied, and powerful, affirming eternal life. They are the voices of the ancestors, echoing with undiminished force. Through these spells, the king's journey is assured. Their words still resonate today. The pyramid text's influence lasted thousands of years. After the Old Kingdom, their spells formed the foundation for all later funerary literature. In the Middle Kingdom, the coffin texts appeared, spells written on coffins, available to wealthy individuals, not just kings. Many coffin texts were borrowed or adapted from the pyramid texts, but new ideas emerged. like the judgment of the dead. This was the democratization of the afterlife. Magical protection was no longer exclusive. In the New Kingdom, funerary spells were compiled into the Book of the Dead, written on papyrus and placed in tombs. Many spells trace directly back to the pyramid texts: protection from death, transformation, power over water. The pyramid texts are the great-grandfather of Egyptian funerary beliefs. Each generation adapted the tradition, but the core remained: magical knowledge, a perilous journey, and the hope of eternal life. The legacy of those first spells, carved for Unas over 4,300 years ago, is immense. They shaped Egyptian spirituality for centuries. All later beliefs about the afterlife flowed from these ancient words. The pyramid texts are the source of Egypt's eternal faith. The pyramid texts are more than ancient spells. They are a window into Egypt's soul. They reveal the hopes and fears of the earliest kings, who saw their destiny among the stars. For the Egyptians, these texts were the ultimate technology of immortality, conquering death through sacred words. Today, they are a time machine, transporting us back 4,000 years. We stand with the priests and scribes, feeling their reverence and belief. The texts show that pyramids were not just tombs, but machines for resurrection. Their discovery revolutionized Egyptology, providing the oldest religious literature in history. They are a priceless resource for understanding language, power, and faith. The pyramid texts speak to our universal desire to overcome mortality. Their magic endures, connecting us to the ancient kings of Egypt. This is their true, enduring power. Thank you for joining me today on this sacred walk through time. Here in Harmony Hall, we gather in peace, grow in our beliefs, and let our spirits breathe, as we gently explore the many faiths and religions that shape our spiritual world. Join us next time, as we continue this journey of wonder, wisdom, and reflection, because here in Harmony Hall, all religions are welcomed and every voice is heard.